What are you looking at? Adapted loosely from Terry Dobson, The Art of Reconciliation and What Would You Do by John Howard Yoder. Kim, in her 50s, enters the stage, looks around, smiles, and speaks to us as if we're old friends hanging out by a campfire, drinking a cold beverage. Kim making eye contact with the audience.
I must have been in my early 20s, just back from a semester overseas, summer, and feeling restless. My parents and I just couldn't seem to connect. Words. We just couldn't find the words. So I went out to the theater to see the third Raiders movie, the one with Sean Connery. Anyway, our small town always got summer movies at winter time, and man, it was cold. We were all standing, chins tucked in, hats pulled down, waiting on the line to move. Daiwu's, the Chinese food joint on the corner, smelled awesome. And I almost skipped the film for some chicken chow mein. There were these two boys, 12 and 14, and they were talking about who's tougher, Captain America or Thor. And there was this fella across the way, shoulders hurling his body ahead as he tried desperately to slow the momentum with halting steps. He desperately wanted to appear sober. The boys were staring like boys do. I guess we all do sometimes. Anyway.
What are you looking at?
The man, let's call him Tony. He looked like a Tony. Stepped to the sidewalk's edge and leaned forward aggressively.
You heard me. What are you looking at? You. Yes, you.
The kid stuttered, backed up. Nothing, said the one in the blue knit cap, biting his upper lip. Yeah, nothing, repeated the younger one, wearing a plaid bomber jacket 2 sizes too big. We were just...
I saw you, heard you mumbling. Am I some kind of freak show? Look at the sad freak.
Tony walked into the street, fists raised as the situation escalated. I had taken self-defense classes since I was 10, had a black belt, and studied Jeet Kune Do while overseas in Hong Kong. I wasn't looking for a fight. Our senseis taught us that fighting was the last resort. But I was feeling the confidence of youth. Anyway, the boy in the knit cap apologized again, and his brother in the bomber jacket said, "We were just talking about Captain America."
Your eyes were following me. Don't give me that. I'm a bodybuilder, work out every day. I'm used to people looking, staring. Some are jealous, some think I'm stupid. Let's look at the freak.
Boy shrugged, trying to disappear behind the line of strangers.
You want to tell the freak show how funny looking he is? Go ahead. Go ahead. The freak show's listening. Tell me how funny looking I am.
I didn't say anything. We didn't say anything. We don't think you're funny looking, pleaded the older boy. And that's when I stepped out to the edge of the sidewalk. I felt for the boys, their loss of dignity. And Tony was bullying them. That's enough, I said. Like right out of a movie, right? That's enough.
I ain't fighting no girl.
I did some liquid moves and struck a praying mantis pose. I think that unnerved him a little. And I said, "You're going to have to if you're thinking of tangling with 2 boys." Feeling the rush of the moment, I was challenging his manhood.
You into martial arts or something?
I'm not looking for a fight, but you asked for it.
I'm not fighting a girl. I'm twice your size.
It's not just about size. There's quickness, moving like water, pressure points, leverage.
I won't fight a girl.
Then just leave.
You ever been in a fight besides at your club or dojo or whatever you call it?
He took another step into the street and there was no turning back for me, or so I thought. My body tingled with adrenaline.
Okay, you're going to get a lesson.
Suddenly, a woman emerged from the line. Kyoko. She taught a yoga class on Water Street near the Zellers. I knew her. She was much older, my age now. She wore a tan overcoat, Russian style hat, and thick gloves. And she moved with a calm dignity.
You haven't been drinking that lousy craft beer, have you?
Huh?
It kills me what people will pay for a micro beer with all those fruity flavors. Me, I like bottled beer, Molson's. What you been drinking?
Molson's?
Export, Canadian, Golden? Me, I like Golden. My dad liked Golden.
Me too. Molson's Golden.
She had totally enchanted him with her sideways questions. She crossed the street to meet him, and he hesitated, smiling slightly. That smile. Everything shifted in that moment. And seeing that breakthrough, I felt ashamed. Kyoko was truly water, finding a different way, connecting.
Come on, let's talk.
Kyoko directed him away from the crowd, up George Street to Charlotte, and then they turned the corner. Charlotte had the bus terminal, the university bookstore, and Mike's gym where Tony hung out.
You know, there's a real art to bottled beer.
She sits in front of a bench by the billiards hall, and he joins her.
Those microbreweries can have a greater margin for difference beer to beer. But no matter where you are, Petersburg, Ontario, Millville, Saskatchewan, a Molson's Golden has to taste like a Molson's Golden. That's engineering for you. That takes consistency, real science.
Yeah, I guess so. I hadn't thought about it like that. Unlike people who want to pay a fortune for individuality.
Exactly. $1 for a gallon of gas and $1.50 for a fancy cup of coffee. Whatever happened to the simple things, like a cup of black coffee, 12 ounces, under 2 bits?
Yeah.
Life got kind of complicated, didn't it?
It sure did. My life's been messed up since.
Someone close to you died.
How did you?
I could see the sadness in your shoulders, the way you moved. I didn't see a freak show. I saw you carrying something. I pay attention to the body, and I'm pretty good at seeing behind it. I run a yoga studio. I know it's a cliche, the philosopher into yoga.
I thought people from India were into yoga.
No, that's a different kind of cliche.
You're not from around here, are you?
No, I am. So were my parents. My grandparents were from Japan.
Day of infamy.
Yeah, I heard all those jokes. My nickname in high school was Kamikaze. Real funny.
I'm sorry. Would it be insensitive for me to ask if you liked sake?
No, not at all. But I don't really like sake. It's cold out here.
She looks over her shoulder.
You want to shoot a game of pool?
No, I'm not sober.
Well, I am, and I'm a terrible pool player, so it would be an even match. 9-ball?
I like snooker.
You want to play? Pretty sure this place has a snooker table.
Maybe in a bit.
Yoko notices the Montreal Canadiens crest on his hat, the CHC, and asks him about hockey.
You watch hockey?
Every Saturday, my wife and I watched Hockey Night in Canada and knocked back a couple of beers. If the phone rang, we didn't answer it. If people wanted to come over, they had to watch the game with us. It was like our time together, even if it was weird. And it was sacred. We used to make bets about taking out the trash and washing the dishes.
It's not weird. I grew up in a family of boys, and my dad always favored them over me. So the only way to survive was to watch the Saturday hockey games. I knew all the stats of the Leafs.
You're a Leafs fan?
Yeah, of course.
God help you. Always been a Habs fan.
Montreal's a great city.
You been there?
Last summer with my partner, we stayed at Old Montreal, walked around the McGill campus, saw an expo game, ate at Walensky's.
Apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz. He eats there.
That's why we went there.
I bet when you first arrived, you traveled up to Mount Royal to see the whole city.
We did.
I love that city.
Me too.
My wife and I vacationed there every other summer. Jazz festival. I saw the expos in Old Jerry Park when I was a kid. Love the expos.
Me too. I mean, Jackie Robinson started in Montreal. It's a historic baseball city.
Yep, the Montreal Royals. You do know your sports.
It was the only way to get to know my dad. He was so reserved. God, I miss him. I miss talking to him on the phone.
Yeah, I hear you. I miss Janet. You mentioned a partner. That's not a man, is it?
No, my partner's a woman.
That's cool. I mean, for a Leafs fan,
You're terrible.
you got me laughing. That's what Janet used to do. Whenever I was upset or down about something, she got me to laughing. That's good. Sometimes I get these dark thoughts, and I drink too much to make them go away, but they're always there hovering.
Yeah. Yogi Berra once said, you can't run away from yourself because no matter where you go, there you are. You seen a therapist?
Tony nods. Kyoko hands him her business card.
Look, that's my card to the yoga studio, and that's my home number. Call if things get, My wife and I would love to have you over for a hockey game. This Saturday,
I'm a Habs fan.
Toronto plays Montreal in 2 weeks.
You know the schedule off the top of your head?
I read the hockey news.
You sure you want me?
Yeah, you can even wear your Hobbs sweater.
I have a vintage Bellevue.
Number 4, Les Gros Billes. I never understood that phrase.
It's a French thing.
I got the Molsons. You bring donuts.
Yeah, what Canadian doesn't like donuts? Timmy's?
Sure,
Cake or glazed?
both.
Of course.
He looks over his shoulder.
You ready to get your butt kicked at snooker?
Sure.
And then they entered the pool hall. I guess that moment there out in front of that movie theater taught me more than I'd learned in a whole semester of studying in Hong Kong. I like to think that after that day, I realized that the impulse to meet force with force, isn't necessarily the best impulse. Face the world like Kyoko did, with a calm trembling. Anyway, I saw Tony a few times after that before I left Petersburg to get my master's. I'm now a therapist and I work with all kinds of folks, but back then, the words just weren't there. Tony and me would bump into each other now and then at the bookstore or at the bus terminal, and we'd both look away, embarrassed, ashamed over what had not passed, like we were kids at a junior high dance, randomly pushed together, standing far apart, waiting awkwardly for the song to end.
Blackout.